8.3, page 53 of your agenda, talking about extended producer responsibility. And to start it off, can I get a motion on this one?
Council approves the immediate reestablishment of the town's recycle depot using the Meston Group as the selected service provider with continued transition towards EPR program implementation.
So I'm gonna ask our CEO maybe just to give us the rundown on this one. I did read it, but
Yeah, same thing.
Well, I've certainly been dependent on the contractor that we were using, and she has done some great work, contacting the providers and seeing what can be done. But it's nice to know that we're on track with the EPR program for April 1st. But the first step here is we'll use the Meston Group, and they're the cheapest, and get this back up and running again. Yes.
So are we going to have to, on this motion, reestablish our recycle fee on our utility bills?
That's right.
Okay, so same as it was before?
Well, I'll take the $1,300 a month and divide it over the residences and businesses, and we'll go from there. We'll see what the charge should be.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll add to my motion to reestablish the recycling fee on utility bills for April 1st?
It'll be in May for April.
Okay. What he said, with the costs divided up amongst the residents and businesses in town. And this $1,300, what were we paying for? You know, off the top of your head?
I don't know. I think it was more than 1,300.
Well, I know that the second go around was a lot more than that when they wanted to re-up the contract. So, and we're going to put the depot in the same spot.
Yes.
People are used to it there.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, this new program, is this going to be curbside recycling?
No, they'd still have to bring it to the central depot.
But, see, I'm confused here where it says it moves, there's no burden on the municipality, so then why are we charging for it?
That's in the interim period until the EPR is fully running.
So why can't we wait until it's up and running?
I think it's an important, well, we have to find a provider, and we do want to provide the service to the community as soon as possible. This is already in our budget, operating budget. We didn't remove it from the operating budget. So we're just trying to provide a service.
But we did remove the income, so the income is not there.
That's right, the income's not there.
So if I can just ask for clarification, like what is the EPR organization paying for? Because they're supposed to be starting to pay. When would they start paying for this?
That's, I think, August, I believe it is.
Of 2025.
Of 2025.
And that's sort of well, it says here.
Phase 1 stage, July, of 2025.
Okay, so if we implement it now, that's really only, so it would be 1,300, so we wouldn't even, that's something that we could probably eat as a town, and then they're gonna pay for that 1,300 a month after, is that?
That's my understanding.
that's what I wasn't clear on, is that kind of stuff is, so if it's, $3,900, cause it'd be 3 months, right?
Okay, take that other part off. About adding the stuff, the recycling fee back on, take that off, I'll rescind that part of it.
And you know, this came up at the President's Summit and caucus, and all the municipalities are confused.
Nice. Well, if something's clear and understandable, then get government involved, and it won't be.
So if I understand right, then this would be phase one, and then it would be the curbside recycling in 2026? Is that what?
Annual round of collection. My understanding that it would continue to be at the central recycle depot and not curbside.
I think that the curbside recycling part there, that's for communities that have curbside currently, which we do not.
But then if we, I mean, if they're paying for it,
Oh, don't go there.
well,
People
I'm
are
just saying,
already overfilling their garbage cans and it's a mess already with just household garbage.
Then there'd be another bin for recycle.
you'd
Yeah,
need
there'd be
another
a-
bid for the recycle, is what I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
separate
but I
bid.
guess it's the producer's responsibility to pay for the recycling.
Right.
So I guess why wouldn't we make it as convenient for our residents as possible if we could get that? Like, I don't understand what's so.
I'll look into this and make that request if it's possible.
Well, to understand what
Yeah.
it is.
There's no, yeah.
There's two things there, there's the apartment buildings would be different, of course, so we would still need the depot for that. I think that our depot is also fairly well used by people who are west of town, not so much east, because the hamlets, I believe, all still have their bins. So we wouldn't get quite so much from the west, or from the east, but west, I think that we would get lots still. I'm all for a greener planet. This is, oh, this is gonna be fun. And I mean that in the most sarcastic way possible.
It does say for both curbside and recycle depots.
Yeah, but we don't have curbside currently. Right, so, but if administration is gonna check into what the process is for getting curbside, because people have been asking for that for 20 years, right? Oh, yeah,
It doesn't hurt for me to ask.
Monday's garbage day, Thursday is recycling day, right? And I think that we would see, I've seen numbers somewhere that when you have curbside recycling, that your recycling numbers go up. Because now I don't have to pack all this crap down, down behind Subway to the bins there. I can put it in a bin outside my door, and on Thursday or whenever, it goes down to the street and away it goes.
I know from experience in my previous municipality, curbside, there's more contamination that comes with curbside as opposed to the central recycle depot.
Yeah, well, and the other part of that too, as far as this recycling goes in, I know this is a question. They weren't recycling glass. They just weren't. They flat out admitted that. And, ultimately, where does this stuff end up? I know we can't, they got it. My big fear with a lot of this is that it ends up on a barge to Singapore and they dump it in a river. It ends up in the ocean anyways, right? Because, the hell was it, a few years ago, this fifth estate, they went over to the Philippines or Singapore, one of those countries in the Far East where our recycling was going, and they were digging through garbage on the beach and in the rivers and stuff. And, well, here's a Canadian Tire bag. That sure didn't come from here. And, things that were obviously Canadian were in this garbage that was just dumped.
I saw the same documentary, and it was Joe Crush.
Yeah, yeah, clearly from North America. So, I mean, and I know this was a concern with the previous one, previous provider. And they told us, and really at that point, you have to take them at their word, that it was being recycled. I want the same sort of assurance that this stuff is actually being recycled. And then look into the curbside and see if that's a possibility. But for now, we'll bring the depot back and re-educate people.
But also the communication between, with the company too, because it seems like the last one, they would change something and they'd stop doing something, but we never knew about it. You know, so we need that back and forth communication, that if they are, if for whatever reason it is, let us know, and then we can at least be aware, and let people know, and let people know, right? Because then it's transparent that way of what actually is happening, not only what's happening, but what, I guess.
And just one more question, and then I'll shut up, I promise. It says immediately, but when is immediately? Like, is immediately the end of this week, or is it immediately the end of the month? Okay, so Monday. That's pretty quick. Okay.
So I just wanted to get my head around and make sure I understand the opt-in version of the EPR versus the opt-out version of EPR. The opt-in is when we are looking after it and have some control over it, right? Like we are saying, here's the company and here's the bill, you guys pay the bill. The opt-out is we say, you look after the recycling in our town, we don't want anything to do with it. Is that the difference? And they bring in something and look after it?
Yeah, the town, an opt-in model, the town can act as a direct service provider that's contracted to the PRO. This means the town would continue to manage any current recycling contracts with the ability to subcontract rather than turning over all program service control to the PRO directly. Under the opt-out model, the PRO is directly responsible for these components with no involvement from the town. This may result in less control of the services for the town and the risk of service interruption in the community. So that's basically.
Okay. But I can see advantages to the opt-out then also, excuse me, is then, you know, we don't have, well, it's not getting recycled, you guys should have been, let us know, we're paying for recycling and we're not recycling it, because we've heard that. And we go, well, we didn't know, and once we knew, we stopped, right? But, and I do get the advantages of it, but there is an advantage of opting out. If they're gonna look after it, maybe they'll do a good job. I don't know. Can we change afterwards?
Well, I can inquire tomorrow.
No,
Okay, and I'll do that.
but I like the idea of getting it back in town and being able to advertise it, and if they're gonna start paying for it in July, March, April, May, June, 4 months, or well, half of March, 2.5 months. Yeah, to charge for 3.5 months and then take it off again,
Yeah,
it seems.
foolish. That's fine. That's why I pulled that part of the motion out.
Okay, anything else? Counselor Stenhouse?
So you're going with the opt-in?
Yes.
Okay, I'm voting against it because I think that opt-out would be a better option for us, where we wipe our hands of it, a service is provided, send your complaints to that number.
But if we're understanding, after we get it set up again, we can pull it out. I know everything is, nobody understands it right now is the big problem, right? And when would they come in with the opt-out and everything else? Yeah, who's gonna do it and what would the service look like, but maybe once everything's established, then we switch from opt-in to opt-out. That's the way I'm kind of looking. What's that?
If we can.
If we can.
Exactly, so
Yeah,
maybe this is another item.
if we went opt-out, how soon could we get it here, do you know?
I don't know. I'd have to ask.
But the consultant is recommending the opt-in to get
And
it.
so is circular and materials that are the intermediary of all this.
Yeah. They're the ones that know more than we do.
Before, I don't know this, Weston, that's a new, I mean, I've talked to the circular people, there were two that were recommended by when that whole EPR thing came out a year and a half ago. But why do we need a consultant, like, that's just another layer of, I'm just asking, I don't know.
Well, thank, yeah, thank goodness we used a consultant, because without her, we would have missed the April 1st deadline. And we would have had to wait till 2026. So that alone was a good benefit for the $5,000 spending on this person. And then she's gone out and talked to as many of the recycle providers as she could find. And talk to the government agencies too. So it's, you know, because it would have been impossible for me or anybody in the administration to try to wade through this vague direction that we got from the province. So anyway, that's where I am with this. I'm thankful that she's organized this, and she is the one really, I didn't write this. This is all her writing. And she's very knowledgeable in this area. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Okay, anything else on this? Okay. We're going with both.
Are we settled on opt-in versus opt-out, and are we tabling this, or are we moving forward with the
Well,
opt-in
the
approach?
motion is to approve the immediate reestablishment of the town's recycle depot using the Meston Group as the selected provider with continued transition towards the EPR program implementation, which we know would be July 1st, right?
Not sure.
There's no cost to this.
After July 1st. But we have to get it up and running so that it can be transferred over July 1st.
So it is going back on the bill.
No,
No.
no, we're just gonna eat the $4,000.
Okay.
Just not worth.
Oh, okay.
putting
It's not worth putting it on and then
No, I
taking it
know
off.
that.
Okay.
Should we add into this using the opt-in model?
Yeah, because. But should we not wait to find out if we can opt out? Like, is this a contract that we're gonna have to sign? Like, I'm.
There would be some contract here, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, I do get the advantage of the opt-out.
Yeah.
But I also know that at least we get the recycling back in town for now in the opt-in, and it's 3.5 months. We do have some control to say this is what we want or don't want, or maybe add this or take, and we can work with the organization, or we can opt out in the future. I think because in here, they were talking about, you know, going to more of a Canada-wide system and getting this going, because many other provinces have already been doing this for a long time. It's Alberta that's way behind. And the producers have already been adding this to their bills, so it shouldn't be an additional cost anymore because they've had to do this in other provinces. We're just behind. That's what makes it confusing, that why, if everybody else has been doing it, why can't we just be riding the coattails and say, this is what works, let's do it, but it doesn't seem like we're there. Okay, we have the motion to approve the reestablishment of the recycle depot with Meston Group. All in favor? Opposed? It is carried. Moving on then to our CAO's report and action list. Can we get a motion on this one? Councilor Dunn?
The council received CEO David Joy's report and action list for you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Last week, I was, as you know, I was in Edmonton for the conference, and it was very good. Daniel Smith spoke, and so did the ministers the previous day on the second day. I was very impressed with the ministers and with Danielle, how intelligently they answered the questions. Questions were tough. And I was always, as I told Therese there, I'm always thinking, how could I answer that question? Then to listen to Danielle for 45 minutes, very impressive. And, you know, I'm more a liberal, a shade of NDP maybe, but I really liked the way she spoke, and you know, it was very, very impressive. So anyway, that's the comment on that. I did attend the election information session at the county, and David Reynolds had prepared, the CEO there had prepared the presentation, and he spoke very well. And it'll be my turn here in council chambers in June, I believe, or July, early July, where we'll entertain candidates closer to the election, and I'll take a different take from David, but I'll probably incorporate some of his PowerPoint presentation. But and that's basically it from my end.
All right, questions, comments for CEO?
So I've been looking on this action list, a couple things on the action list, but first question is, where are we with getting rid of Santa's workshop, and where are we advertising it?
Well, I believe council wanted us to advertise it. It has been advertised.
Where's it been advertised?
It's in the paper, and plus it's on our website. And for 90 days, right? So it's there. And Chris Clegg gave us some free advertising on the Santa's.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And how are we getting any bids?
Nothing yet.
There's people that are interested, they wanna see what it looks like inside. And I asked Mike about that, and he said that there's a bunch of stuff in there that needs to come out yet. And once that stuff is removed, he was gonna get interior pictures.
We have interior pictures posted.
Oh, they're posted now?
Yeah, if you're interested, they did have to set up a time to meet with Mike to view it.
Okay, I'll let my people know.
Okay.
Okay, so my next question is, page 61, on top of the page. The council directs administration to bring back a draft policy for accumulation and usage of reward points. That was supposed to be at tonight's meeting.
But I was away last week, so we'll have to be for the next one.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, others? I was curious if you could tell me about how many people attended that elected officials program.
Yes, as I recall, there were six, maybe six. Potential. They were surprised in general how much they'd have to read as a council and how much time. And they're curious how much they get paid. And when they heard, I think we lost half of them on the pay alone. But I think they would think they get paid more, so it's.
$600, isn't it? For the day.
Well, the county gets.
We told them generally how much the council here gets paid, county pays them a little bit more, but,
Oh, the elected official part, oh, that part, that part.
I let them know, and the one lady said, yeah, don't even talk to me.
Oh, did you go to?
Yeah.
Okay. My other question is, what came out of the meeting with Josh Friesen? What's the,
Josh Friesen, the subject there.
I didn't see a subject.
Nothing much, it was just a general, he came in and talked to me, that's right, he owns the hairstyling place in Slave Lake. Very enthusiastic,
He's Community Futures,
community futures.
not hairstyle.
No, but he ended up talking about his shop.
Oh, okay.
So that's what struck me, nice guy,
Okay.
it was just an introductory,
Oh,
that he'll be by again and yeah, there wasn't too much to the meeting, it's just kind of a meet and greet.
okay. All right, anything else? Seeing nothing, we had their motion to receive for information, all in favor? Carried. Moving on then to RFD for letter from the town of Slave Lake and from Big Lakes. Get a motion on those two. Councilor Whitman.
I'll move that we received the letter from the town of Slave Lake and Big Lakes County supporting MLA Scott Sinclair's position for information and direct administration to write a similar letter from the town of High Prairie for your signature, Mr. Mayor. And considering that our MLA has now been kicked out of caucus for standing up for the area, I've seen that happen once before in federal politics, and the guy kept on winning. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So that's my motion.
Well, the guy kept on me.
Yeah, it was David Kilger after he voted against the GST. Mulrooney kicked him out, and then he went over to the Liberals, and he kept on winning in Edmonton. As soon as Kilger retired, it went reform instantly.
Okay, so I'm gonna correct your motion.
There's nothing to correct.
When you say you received it for information, that means we're gonna do absolutely nothing with it.
No, I added to that. I said we received these two letters for information and draft a letter from the town of High Prairie supporting Scott Sinclair and his position on the budget.
I guess we can do those, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise,
But
I'd like
I-
to keep them separate.
Yeah,
Why?
why not
It's
say,
related.
yeah, but why not say, we acknowledge these letters and we would like to,
Well, that's what he said.
That's what I said. No, it's all related. It can be one motion.
It can be. Yeah. Well,
This is
somebody
straight.
might support one and not the other, but in this case, I think everybody would receive those letters for information and so. But what did you? I don't see anybody disagreeing with it, that's why.
No, it's just because usually information is getting stuff is done.
That's why I kept talking.
Yeah, so the two letters we're receiving for information, and the second part of the motion is to write a letter in support of our MLA.
I guess the only thing I would disagree with is even within our council, when something does not go our way, we have been instructed and we have been told we are a council. So you can't step outside of the decision that's been made and slam it. So I agree exactly with what he did, or with what he was saying. I don't agree with the process that he chose to use. Because as he's found out, it took away now any connection that he had, that he could use to establish the North. He could have gone to people in the caucus and said, can we talk about this? Right? And so that's one of the things that concerns me in supporting it, is going, then basically we give ourselves right to stand up and say, wait a minute, I hate what our town council just decided because it doesn't meet with any of my constituents.
But the thing is that the budget was introduced, it has yet to be passed. Once the budget is passed, then you guys got to, you have, once the motion is passed, you have to support that, is the way it goes. The budget hasn't been passed yet. So that's why he's saying, there's not enough up here. All the oil and gas money for the province comes from up here, and you're not giving us for it. So, yeah, this is us just saying, you know, this is such a switch from our last MLA, is it not?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this guy shows up in Edmonton at least, and he's speaking up, whereas the other guy shows up in Texas to run his business.
But yes, you're right. I mean, he's not in caucus anymore, puts away a little bit of his power. However, it's fair enough before decisions have been made and this budget hasn't been passed, but that's party politics, right? You're
And
supposed to.
that's what I'm saying, so the budget hasn't been passed, so even more so, get down to your fellow politicians and say, can we do something to change this so that when I go back to my communities, that I can be proud of the budget that's been set forth, rather than yelling about it, now nothing's gonna happen.
The thing is they don't have a huge majority. Everybody thinks the Conservatives, the UCP party has this massive majority, and they do not. I think I saw somewhere the number is 6 or 7. So if there's 6 or 7 MLAs that on the UCP side that feel the same as our MLA, Scott Sinclair, feels, this budget fails, this government falls, and we have an election. So it's that close.
So it's not that they're not investing in the north, they're just not investing here right now in the north. They are investing in Highway 686 to Trout. There was, so there is that for the north. It just doesn't happen to be exactly right here at the exact this time, but.
And
You know,
there's
I'm
a
not saying that-
school going in Valley View, right? Like they got approval
Yeah,
for that.
I mean, they-
But not this
They seem to
region,
have their
not
priorities at
this
this
riding.
moment, right? But
That's the thing, you gotta be cool like Todd Lowen.
Okay, so we have the motion. Any other questions on that? All in favor? Carried. Upcoming meetings, anything coming up? I can't tell you.
Oh, right, you've been on vacation. How horrible for you.
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, it's not, okay. Okay, I'm good.
Nothing that we need to know about? No? Okay, moving on to our written and verbal reports. Counselor Dunn?
So I met with Waste Management and, I was hoping David would have this, about the commission. It's advertising notice. The province has said, each community that's gonna be a part of the commission has to notify their residents that that's taking place. And now we're changing from the Waste Management Authority to the Waste Management Commission. And so it has to be in the paper for 2 weeks. And he sent documents to, from their legal team so that it can just be put out there. You may want to talk to him. I can forward this to you as well.
Yeah, forward that.
So, and that was pretty much the main aspect of the meeting. There were sort of some other political things that were happening there. There was an election for leadership that all went through, and if I can figure out how.
Is it the same one that, that one from,
Does it have two?
Tech Era?
No, does it have two, two attachments, one advertising notification, the other one is waste commission.
The only one I got here is from Tech Era, and I sent that one to David. Maybe it's something different.
Yeah, I will forward this to.
Did you get it yet?
I'm not sure.
No, I did, like, I just sent it to you, like, tonight.
Okay, you got anything else you
Yeah.
have on yours?
And then I attended with our CEO, attended the, so you want to be a counselor. Yeah, there weren't too many there in attendance, but we actually had really good discussion, and David and Tyler were a good team working together to answer questions, and David and I answered some questions and stuff, and there was good feedback between the people that were there, questions. Yeah. And, sorry, then I will, ask that you receive my verbal report for, information.
All right, anything for Councillor Dunn before we vote? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Martins?
It's been 2 weeks now. So I attended the Water Management Conference, February 24th, 25th, 26th in Grand Prairie. It was the Northern Basin, and and I was actually amazed. First of all, it was the largest of its kind. There were the three regions: Peace, Us, Slave Lake, and Athabasca, and it actually talked about how the boreal is much different. I didn't even realize that 60% of it's 60%, but the proportions are so different. And there were so many speakers. It was a collection of mayors, councillors from all of the surrounding municipalities, industry, government, and of course the watershed folks. And I will have a written report on it, but it was actually really good. The keynote speaker was excellent. He, talked about the importance of water, how it underpins everything we do, including not just humans, and how they had an opening remark with an Indigenous, 7 leaders from UNESCO, and talked about the fact that water is our unifier. It was really good learning, and I think, like I said, I will have this in writing. One of the comments aside from this event was that my reports are rather lengthy and detailed, and I figure that they're really meant for the public consumption, and not. If council thinks that a few pages are too much, I can shorten them, but I think that it's valuable to have the information present. That's all. I'm happy to entertain questions, if any. Otherwise, I'll move my report for information.
Okay, anything for Councillor Martins? All in favor? It's carried. For myself, yeah, no, well, I had a call on my way driving home today, and I'm just going to put it out so you can start thinking about it, from a potential developer that wants to do something in town for residents. I was wondering what the town would, if there was any incentives from the town to help with that. So, I mean, we've talked about this before. So we need to sort of look at and start thinking, so maybe at our next meeting, we could have that on the agenda, what we could do, so that we have something to say, this is what we would do if you want to come to our town, like maybe it's a tax break for the first 4 years, you only pay a portion of what the normal tax would be, or maybe we, our lands, if you're gonna develop, we will sell some of our property for a lower price. Whatever it is, we need to be ready to deal with these guys if they wanna put something in our community. That's the only thing I got. I'll move my report for information. Yeah, that's it right now. That's all I got. Yeah.
We did, in the olden days, have I don't know if it was a policy or what it was, and it's probably long expired, but if you bought empty lots, let's say you bought 6 lots and you were gonna develop them, and you started developing, if there was some sort of a tax break on that as you were developing it. And I can't remember the year, what it was, but it was, we did that so people would build, 4 or 5 houses at a time, kind of thing. God, I don't even know if there's anybody left in the office that would know.
Well, those are the things we can talk about and see what, if we have
Yeah.
anything in our system, but yeah, I mean, those are the things, it's a good conversation we
Yeah.
need to have. Anything else? No? All right, all in favor? Carried. Moving on then, Councillor Stenhouse, Councillor Wakel,
None of my committees have met since last meeting, so.
Councillor Yashisha.
I attended it's what's called the 2025 Spring Municipal Leaders Caucus. It started out with the President's Summit initially, and then of course, given where we were last week and I guess where the world was, it still is, was kind of the big conversation, or what dominated the initial conversation was the Trump card, indicating the impacts really of like this unprecedented presidency so far anyways. So a panel analyzed some of the impacts of Donald Trump and what it means to Canadian municipalities, which was very interesting. It's I guess one of the key points that came out of that was that, we need to be resilient and what else we need to do in that regard. But also use the situation to maybe change how we do business, into provincial more, where we seem to have a little bit more, or we have those barriers in place. Maybe it's an opportunity to look at some of that and see where we can be stronger. So maybe it's a time for change as well, but maybe not that drastic kind of change. But anyways, and then it went on to the next couple of days where was the second, make sure I got everything going here. Was actually the Leaders Caucus, as CEO mentioned. Really good to hear the Premier speak, the ministers. They spoke very well and to the point and in the present, very much so. Very informative. It's good to hear where our leaders are thinking, and they were very open about that as well. We had breakout sessions. We went to different ones there. I went to the breakout session that was called Promoting a Civil Social Media Landscape. So basically it was about AI. And I was really interested in this because I do a lot, it's being introduced in our work, in my normal work. And I just felt that's one of the things that I need to really learn more of and hone up on. And it's kind of scary in a way, but also there's a lot of advantages of how we can use it as an advantage. What I kind of got out of that was you can, so just really quickly, if you're attending, say, a session like this, and you want to put or be able to put out what you've learned from that, you can basically put that that material in, and it would basically spit it out for you in a form that is good for whatever audience you're looking at presenting that to. So I learned some of the benefits of it, and it's pretty powerful. That's one thing I learned for sure. It's kind of gone way beyond, I think, two in some ways. So I think we kind of need to, use it to advantages, definitely, but it's definitely a tool that is up and coming. So that was very informative for me there. What else did I have on that? That was it, I guess. So I'll move my report, unless there's any questions.
All right.
I can go on for quite a while, but I better not.
Any questions, comments for Councillor Shishin? Seeing none, all in favor? Good, and one of the things, I'm not sure if does everybody know Wendy that's here?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
Wendy is,
Maybe is.
going to be our new executive assistant, is that the
That's
title?
right, legislative services
Legislative
and
services.
communications. And she's actually starting tomorrow, so we aren't even paying her, and she's showing up. So, the bonus points for that, and they'll come up in your probationary review.
So yes, welcome
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Yes,
aboard. Yeah.
thank you.
It's wonderful.
We get too caught up in the meeting.
Okay, and then we will go into our closed session. Take 5 minutes and then go into closed session.